right, man. It
All right.
is all you, dude.
All
It is
right.
all you.
Thank you. Nice
Are
to
you gonna
see
share a
you.
screen or
Oh
anything, or
yeah,
are
I
we
gotta
just
share the screen. So I gotta click the share.
and just for everybody that is watching, Hien has been here for the last 30 minutes, and he didn't think to share his screen until now.
Okay, it shows up. Awesome. Okay, there you go.
There we go.
All right, ready to
All
go? The
right,
slides are up.
they're up, man. I'm gonna
All right.
jump off, and I'll be back in 10 minutes.
All right. Thank you. Thanks everyone for attending this session. My name is Hien Liu, and I lead the ML platform team at DoorDash. In this session, I want to share about my learnings from exploring the LLMOps stack. In the context of trying to figure out a strategy for us to build our own stack here. Would like to get started with this quote that I saw last year from Cassie. Hopefully, many of you knows who that is. When I saw this quote, I told myself that I got to use it in my next presentation. So here we are. So it says implementing Gen AI at scale in the enterprise is like teenage sex. Everyone talks about it. Nobody really knows how to do it. Everyone thinks everyone else is doing it. So everyone claims that they are doing it. This statement is quite true in 2023, in my opinion. However, I think it's going to be less and less true as we move forward, because I believe, like as the ML community, we'll figure out how to do this at scale in the coming years. Very similar to MLOps. So before we get talking about the stack and everything, I think it's good to take a step back and really think about the challenges, the unique challenges with building and deploying these LLMs applications. This is a great blog to go through if you haven't. It really highlights these unique challenges in these 5 dimensions. I won't go through them, but I think the one that particularly interesting in recent times is about inference and serving. There's probably half a dozen or 2 dozens of startups in recent time that spun up to help solving the inference area of hosting models and such. Particularly the one that you might have heard, Titan ML. Hopefully Miriam is listening. In addition to that, though, there's also other dimensions to think about as well. If your company is supporting like high scale QPS use cases, those are costs and latency. So that's very top of mind for those kind of use cases. Besides that, we know there's proprietary LLMs and open source LLMs. And as you think about building your stack, you need to figure out how to support both of these worlds, because the needs are slightly different. The infrastructure that's needed is going to be more challenging for one versus the others. What's really interesting is in some use cases that they might want to use one of those as the backup for the other, in case of reliability or the performance and such. In some cases, both of these could be used for certain use cases. So in this LLMOps stack, we got to make sure how to best support both of these types of LLMs. Certainly, the open source LLM is quite fascinating in recent times of the accessibility to those models. I think for some of the enterprise use cases, more likely they will adopt these open source LLMs, doing fine tuning with their own specific domain data and such. So from the stack perspective, what does it take to do that effectively, efficiently, and quickly? Earlier, the presentation from the Databricks did talk about these application archetypes. So prompt engineer, RAGs, and fine tuning. I think the one thing to think about as putting together an MLOps stack is what are the components and pieces that we want to help productionalizing. For example, prompt engineering is very, very foundational requirement for any Gen AI apps. So how do we handle prompt management, right? Versioning, release, testing, evaluation. Guardrails, I think that was talked earlier about that, potentially can use with some of those areas. For RAG, the vector database, embedding models, pipelines for constantly updating those embeddings and such. And then fine-tuning, how do we make that process easy in a cost-efficient manner? So, automations around templates, around training and evaluating. So this is a very, very well-known blog. If you haven't, I highly recommend to go through this. It does a great job of laying out the reference architecture in a very thoughtful, thorough way. So it includes many commonly needed components. The one that's quite interesting to call out is the bottom right, which is the LM cache component. I think that's quite interesting to think about the leverage for high QPS use cases, particularly the one that's making call to vendor LMs to help with like cost reduction as well as reduce latencies, right? But you need, a very interesting cache, not your typical KV cache. So you need to figure that out. So the previous that screenshot is quite busy. So if you step back and look at it, and think of a higher level abstraction, you can identify these pillars, and this helps with identifying the various pieces you got to think about putting together your stack. And maybe think about what the kind of teams you want to put together to build these out. It's good to take a peek at some of the well-known companies, at least for me, we in the Valley, to see what they're doing and to learn from them. This is the one from LinkedIn that was shared at the YOW Summit in 2023. They have like essentially a list of components or areas of their stack. The one at the top is now is becoming obvious is the gateway. If your stack's going to support, proprietary and open source LLMs, makes a lot of sense. The playground, promote innovations and experimentations. For them, the trust and responsible AI definitely makes a lot of sense given the brand and the company. I think for LinkedIn, definitely very, very likely most of the use cases will use internally hosted models due to like privacies and PII. So if your companies are in that similar space, that's something to think about. And then the next one is Uber. This came from a presentation that was given at Scale conference in July 2023. Uber, as we know, one of the companies that's in front of the pack in terms of their platform due to their scale, diverse sets of use cases. You can see on this diagram, their Uber GenAI platform is an extension on top of their LLMOps platform. It includes these components that looks probably most of them are familiar to many of you in the areas of training and tuning, inference, and observability and such. So for me, this is not the stack, but it's actually a list of components to help me to understand what are the big pieces in a typical MLOps stack. It doesn't mean that we're going to need to build every single pieces out here, but it's going to be depending on the use cases that the stack needs to support. And then from there, you can figure out what pieces need to be built first, second, and third. So essentially let the use cases drive which boxes that you need to build out. But I think it's good to have a high level sense of what are the big pieces within your stack. and then figured out how deep to go on each one of these. And I think the key thing is step back to think about not just from the technology perspective, but it's all about velocity, friction, and cost. How does the stack help with enable high velocity for team to build Gen AI application within the company with like minimum frictions? So that means you got to focus a lot on automations, toolings, and at the same time, as we know, these large language model needs GPUs and fine tuning and inferencing. Be very, very mindful about the costs, managing those costs as part of the stack itself. So this is the last slide. Thank you for attending this session. These two images were generated by ImageFX from Google. I typed in essentially the title of this conference, and that's what they spit out. So it's pretty cool. That's it on my end.
Dude, those photos are awesome. Wow.
Yeah, they're quite
I like
amazing.
the one on the right. It looks like a big broccoli. Looks like a piece of broccoli or cauliflower.
That's true. How long did I take? I forgot to
Way
turn on my
too long.
timer.
Get out of here, man. That was awesome, though. I really appreciate it. It's always a pleasure getting to hang out with you and getting to chat with you, dude. I feel like we don't do it enough. And so
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to hopefully crossing paths with you again when I'm in good old San Francisco or when you come to Europe.
I will be in London in April. So
There we
if,
go.
if you happen to be in London that time, let me know.
There we go, man. I'll come just to see you. Don't you worry about that. And I will show you that I am now a large. All right. And by the way, for everyone that likes t-shirts, did you see? We made a t-shirt and it is my prompts and my
Ah,
special sauce.
nice.
There. Wow. Don't hide your enthusiasm there, Hien. Get out of here, man. What is this? You're kicked off of the stage. I can't believe that. Anyway, though, it was great having you, and I'll see you later.
Thank you. See ya.